All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the City Council meeting, May 1st, 2025 to order. And I have something to recite. The time is now 6:31 p.m. And the executive session has been concluded. Will all participants in the executive session please state their names for the record?
Catherine Nakai.
Seth Bryant.
Jeffrey Gear.
Carol Harvey.
George Jones.
Steve Smith.
Kelly Case,
Jeff Wilson.
will you acknowledge Andrew?
Jeff Wilson and Special Counsel Andrew Ringel.
Thank you.
Aaron Vassilotti.
Suzanne Leclerc. Thank you. If any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I ask that you state your concerns now. All right, hearing none, I adjourn. No, I don't adjourn yet.
I'll take roll call.
Yes, please, Suzanne. Thank you.
Mayor Case,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nakai,
Here.
Councilmember Bryant,
Here.
Councilmember Gear,
Here.
Councilmember Harvey,
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That takes us to item 3, ceremonies, presentations, and appointments. Item A is appointments to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and I'll look to Suzanne, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, as you are aware, we currently have 2 vacant seats on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. You'll remember the last council meeting, we appointed the incumbents, and we had an application from Mr. Ryan Skajewski. I'm hoping I'm saying it okay, who is with us this evening in the audience, who would like to be appointed to that board. He's available for any questions council may have, and if appointed, I am ready to administer his oath of office.
Thank you, Suzanne. Welcome, Ryan. If you'd like to just tell the council a little bit about you and why you'd like to serve on the board, please.
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Skajewski. You're close. That's the common one. I've lived here in Woodland Park for about 3 years. I work as an attorney here in Woodland Park, and I seek appointment to the commission because I want to be more involved in the community. Besides, I work in criminal law, so besides the criminal aspect of things, something a little bit different. I also believe that our parks and our open spaces are one of our most valuable commodities. I'm an avid mountain biker, hiker, everything outdoors. So I want to get out there and seek to be involved in those types of things.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Steve, please.
Ryan, how much volunteering have you done working with kids?
With kids, I know my girlfriend works for CASA, so I'm somewhat involved in with them, but I don't do a lot of work with kids besides my little bit of juvenile law that I do as well.
Reason why I ask is, I feel that being on the Park and Rec board, kind of need to sometimes get into the psyche of kids of all ages. Is that something that you would be able to at least sometime be able to do?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't have any kids of my own, maybe someday, but I think that I can work with any group of people very successfully.
Thanks, Steve. Anyone? Carol?
Oh, I was going to ask if you have been to our new acquisition, the Avenger open space area.
I have. I just discovered that about 6 months ago, and I love the trails out there. It's very close to my house, so I love getting out there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for applying.
Yes, thank you.
Jeff?
So first of all, thanks as well for applying. I'm the council liaison for Parks and Rec Advisory. One of our members is right there. So again, thank you so much for applying. You mentioned, kind of a love for outdoor spaces. From kind of a Woodland Park standpoint, where do you see our best opportunities to improve our outdoor space access, availability, things like that?
Yeah, I think that trail improvement and information is important. I know
Okay.
one of the things when I moved here was I didn't really know what was available. And sometimes I've always found that you kind of have to know someone to know what's out there. And I think increasing public awareness of what we have, I think would be a priority.
Are you aware of Teller Trail Team?
I am, yes.
Perfect. Beautiful. That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone else have questions? Catherine?
So, yeah, hi. Thanks again for applying. So I was just, you said you've lived here 3 years.
Mhm.
So what brought you to our beautiful little city?
Yeah, I used to live in Monument and I was ready to buy a home and I found a beautiful one up here in Woodland Park and I'm from Alaska originally, so I wanted to keep the mountains. So I came up here and I've loved it ever since.
Great, thanks.
Anything else, council?
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to take part in any of the Parks and Rec programs that we offer?
I know that I'm a frequent visitor of the farmers market and I also have a friend who every year does the Rocky Mountain Arts Festival that we do in August. So I've done kind of those things.
You bet. Well, welcome. Thank you for applying.
You?
And if nothing else, council, then I would look for a motion.
Say your last name for me one more time.
Yeah, yeah, Skyeski.
Skyeski. I make a motion to appoint Ryan Skyeski to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
Great. We have a motion and a second to appoint you. Any other discussion, council? Suzanne, would you take the roll?
Yes. Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes,
Bryant,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think Suzanne would like to administer your
Yes.
oath.
What? Will you join me up here? Face the council and raise your right hand. And say, I repeat your name,
I, Ryan Skyeski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
the charter and ordinances
the charter and ordinances
of the city of Woodland Park,
the city of Woodland Park,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
of Parks and Recreation
of Parks and Recreation
Advisory Board
Advisory Board
for the city of Woodland Park,
for the city of Woodland Park,
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let's have you sign this so it's official. And then Parks and Recreation Director Cindy Keating will be in touch with you. She's very excited.
The board refers themselves as the fun board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can do the rest for
Oh,
you.
perfect.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
That takes us to item 3B, presentation of the 2024 annual report for the city of Woodland Park. Aaron?
Thank you. So we as a city staff have been working hard on an annual report to put out to the community. We haven't done one in quite a few years, and so we are very excited to share this and be able to put this out for the community. I'd like to recognize Kristen. She did a lot of work putting this together and helping us to make sure that we had this looking the way that it's supposed to. So I really do want to recognize you and thank you for your efforts on this one. But yeah, we have our 2024 annual report. I think the last one we did was 2019 or 2020. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of different things. And now we have a kind of a jumping board as to where we can go going forward and make sure we do this every year as we move forward. But we really, just like I say during the budget process, I really like the idea of doing the annual report, just like we do the annual budget. We get to look back and see all of the different programs that we put on throughout the year, all of the different projects that we took on. And we really do accomplish a lot of things each and every year. So it's pretty awesome to be able to show the community, hey, this is where all of your money's been going. This is what we've been working on for you. So this really does go through and highlight a lot of the projects and different things that we've been working on. It shows how we prioritize their use of funds and how we go about looking at what is it that we're trying to accomplish each year. As you know, when we go through the budget process, we always look at the priorities. And so this is kind of a look back instead of a look forward. Look at the highlights here we have in here. We had an election in 2024. We had the highest voter turnout that we've had in a city election to date. We moved Myrna the cog car. We redesigned the city website. We did city hall improvements. Those are a couple of the highlights that we had for the year. We also had many others that we'll go through as we're moving forward in here. Our annual budget, we're gonna talk about our year-end report in just a little bit, but our annual budget adopted for the city was 15,588,000. Actual expenditures came out in at 15,099,956, so a little bit under budget there. And revenues were 15,400,000 for the year. And we have a little breakdown of just where all the expenditures and all the revenues came from. All right, and I'd like to invite the police chief to come on up. He also prepared an annual report for the police department, so I'm just gonna have him touch on some of his highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, everyone. It's always nice to come up here and have a few minutes to speak to y'all about the accomplishments and things that we've been doing in the police department. Mr. Bryant, first, welcome to your new role on the council. You probably did not get my annual report email because I think I sent it out before you there, but I'd welcome the opportunity to send you a copy of that maybe later tonight. So very quickly, most of you know, back in early 2022, we started our journey together. I kind of find it interesting that the very first person I ever encountered and spoke to in the city, Pastor Kirk, is actually sitting in the audience. He and I actually had quite a bit of discussions once upon a time when I was back in Central Florida, and he was pretty instrumental in kind of guide me and get me in the right direction. So it's always fun to see you, sir. I appreciate it. So if you had a chance to review the annual report, some of the things you may remember from last year is we had a pretty significant drop in retail theft and shoplifting type cases. The data from last year also shows another slight reduction in those offenses. By far, that is the biggest thing I think we deal with on a daily basis are the petty theft type calls. Things that we get out of the large retail establishments. Walmart is a big thing because they get a lot of traffic. So my hope is that the visibility component has led to a reduction in some of those offenses because quite honestly, where the heat is high, the bad folks will go elsewhere. And I think we're seeing that right now. Last year actually showed a slight reduction in overall crime. It was down 5 total offenses over 2023. So I'll take any small reduction. It's kind of nice to see that. Another point is the drug offenses were down 75% last year. I can't exactly put my finger on why. I have a little bit of some reasons why I think that's going on. I have nothing to say for sure. My guess is it's a combination of the folks who are participating in that type of behavior are going around us, and we're just not seeing them when we do the traffic stops. Beyond that, I'll take it. I'm not complaining, but it's a large reduction, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how that's happening, but it's trending in the right direction. Theft-related offenses, I mentioned, were down additional 5% from last year. Our assault-related offenses rose about 15%. That can encompass any number of things to domestic violence situations or people who get into fights out on the street. It's a pretty wide net for that. Motor vehicle theft showed the highest increase. You may recall last year, I know, George, you and I talked about it. We didn't have 1 last year. And I think this year we had 7. Of special note, and to those in the community who are listening, almost every one of those instances were ATVs taken out of yards on trailers. You may recall we had a couple of months there where we were dealing with ATV thefts from backyards. Well, a lot of those account for what you see right here. The message is, lock your stuff up and keep it tight because it will happen here, and we're trying to reduce those opportunities. Outside of the enforcement stuff, one of the things we always like to highlight is, because we are a big organization as far as our footprint, at least inside our building is, you all know that we dispatch for fire and medical. So we do all 3, police, fire, medical, and periodically they go through a series of checks and balances where we find out how accurate they are. Are they triaging calls the right way? Are they asking the right questions? Are we missing anything? And they go through a series of reflections on those. One of the things that my support service manager, Jen Tobias, was pretty proud of, and of course we all are, is we saw a 16% improvement in their accuracy over last year. Now, I want you to know their numbers have been amazing. So to see 16% improvement over what they've already done is pretty telling, and the community should be proud of that. Another one of the big components is we always point to the stats, but something that's very important is making sure our force is trained right. So of note, we had over 1,400 hours of training last year on our sworn side and over 670 on our civilian side, which is pretty impressive. That will always be a focus for us going forward. As you've heard me say, excellence has no finish line, so we'll continue to chase that. The city experienced a reduction in total reported crime of 28% between 2022 and last year. So I'm pretty impressed by that. That's amazing. And let me make sure we all understand, you've heard me say this before, it is not about me or anybody in our building. It's about everybody in this room, everybody who's listening, everybody who helps us be a partner, everybody who calls us, everybody who just takes that opportunity to come to our meetings, learn what we're doing, and involve themselves as a member and our teammate for us. You see the results. Does anybody have any questions for me before Suzanne takes my microphone privilege? Yes, sir. So we're an authorized force of 23, and we usually try to stay at 21. You bet. And before I step away, I will just remind everybody that our end of school barbecue is coming up May 22nd. Come out and get some hamburgers and hot dogs, have some fun with us. We hope to see y'all there. Again, I'm available anytime you guys need me, let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, then we have a lot of park and rec highlights on here. As we all know, we did a lot of capital improvement projects that we've been in the middle of that we're finishing up this year, but we started the UPCC HVAC and fire suppression. We did a master plan on the Meadowood Sports Complex. We're reimagining Bergstrom Park as we speak. And we also have been working very hard on getting this conservation easement set up for the Avenger open space. That is the gift that keeps on giving. And so we are continuing to work hard on that, but Park and Rec really does offer some amazing services to this community. We had 891 youth participants in 2024 and 659 adults. And funny enough, the most popular adult water class was water aerobics. I think that's interesting. I know we're doing a lot of clay throwing and we have a makerspace now, so I'm wondering if that will change, but I think water aerobics has been winning for a number of years now. And then our largest population growth right now is grades third and fourth. So that's what's going on over there. Of course, we wanted to highlight Avenger Open Space. I'm not going to harp on that, but amazing. We did the Meadowood Sports Complex Master Plan, which you all will be hearing about more in the coming month. So we'll be bringing you that back as a staff on some of recommendations and costs and what we think we can get done out there. The Aquatic Center had a great year in 2024. They also had a great year in 2023, over 82,400 total entries. So the Aquatic Center is very busy and very well loved. So that's excellent to see. And the Cultural Center is as well, 238 total rentals. Revenue was a little bit down last year, but that's because we had to be closed for some renovations and some time for that. So, but 238 rentals, I think, is still pretty good considering the availability of the facility. And you can see we try to do lots of community concerts there, one a month, and just really make it a blessing to the community there. All right, and then Public Works. Our Public Works Department, it consists of our streets, our field services, and all of our facilities team. They do facilities maintenance, grounds, parks, all of your snow plowing, pothole repair, chip seals, reconstruction, all of that. Unfortunately, we had to do 5 water main breaks last year. That was quite a bit. Those are never fun. They installed 23 ADA ramps. That was a big focus last year with the multimodal and the ADA accessibility improvements we had. We used 100 tons of salt in 2024, 520 service calls, 5,714 feet of chip seal, and 31,401 feet of crack seal. So they were busy and working hard. And I think they're actually, not that they're working harder, but they're doing a lot of that this year. We got You're gonna have an asphalt truck for your consideration later tonight, and they're putting it to good use, all of the equipment that we have. Right. Obviously, last year, you're all well aware, we did Highway 67, we did Lake and Dual. Lake and Dual was 15,000 square yards of asphalt, 4,500 linear feet of conduit. There was quite a bit of work done throughout the city. As painful as it was, I think we're all happy to have it done, and it really does look great. But yeah, so we just wanted to highlight that. A lot of work was done out there. And then we have water and wastewater. I know no one ever gets tired of hearing about these. A lot of just information for the community about where our water comes from, how the process works, what it takes to actually get the water to the home. We had 80 single-family residential water taps allotted for 2024, and we actually sold 28 of them. So those go back into the bank, the borrow bank that Kip always talks about. But so 28 taps sold in 2024. And then wastewater, sorry, wastewater, we just go through the process of how does that process work as well. In reverse, we had residential wastewater customers. We had 93% were residential and 7% were commercial. We have 4,183 wastewater customers. 91% of those are in the city. Yeah, and then we have 216 additional that are actually outside city limits. And then social media, Kristen has been doing a phenomenal job of increasing our presence on social media. 697 new Facebook followers, 155% increase in engaged followers, which was pretty awesome, and 112% increase in profile visits. So Kristen has really been increasing our presence on the social sites, and we are very thankful for that. And this is just a little look back at all the different events that we had throughout the city. Any questions on that?
Council?
All right.
All right.
Are you posting this?
No, I think we'll keep it to ourselves. No, yes, we will absolutely have it posted on the website and on social.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations to all the staff and everything that they do. They make us look really good and make our town wonderful. All right, that takes us to 3C, presentation of the fourth quarter year-end financial report. Aaron.
Let me close out of this. It's not. Sorry, my Zoom is being a little difficult here.
It's okay, take your time.
There we go. All right. That was weird. Okay, we have our 2024 year-end report for unaudited financials. Nicole, can you throw that up there for me? I know it's being stubborn. It
We
doesn't
should have
want
the
to.
Jeopardy song.
If
just
you
for-
all remember last year, I tried presenting this and my computer crashed, so. It better
It's not meant to be.
All right, let me try again. Let's see. I know, I started a whole new one this time too. Let's see. You have it now? I know you all have a copy in front of you that I can go through, but I was hoping the community would be able to see the pages.
Not showing that you're sharing.
That's so strange. Jeff, you can see.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's on.
It's on here. It's just
Oh.
not up there.
Okay, perfect. Well, then we don't need to worry about that then. Let's just go ahead.
Just the audience can't see it.
But yeah, everyone,
it.
yes. So I'm sorry about that. If Rob can figure it out, hopefully he can do that soon. So these are unaudited financials for 2024. We are in the process right now of completing our field work for our 2024 audit. So hopefully we'll have that to you in the coming weeks, our actual audited financial package. But I'll start out with our general fund balance. We had budgeted revenues in 2024 on page 2 there of $15,263,500. We ended up with $15,400,821 in total revenues, which was about 1% over the budget. Expenditures, we had $15,588,000. And our actual expenditures were $15,099,956. So we spent about 97% of our allocated expenditure budget there. Most of those savings were from salaries for vacant positions. Some were in the police department. We had our accounting director position vacant and one of our economic development positions. So we had, I think, about 8 vacancies last year, which equates to that $500,000 difference there. So our fund balance based on the budget would have been $5,163,000, and the ending fund balance projected is $5,789,410. And that comes out to, if you look down at the bottom under unrestricted unassigned fund balance, which is usually the biggest question mark for all of us, is it was $4,646,000 in the budget, and it was $5,316,000 in our projected actuals. All right. And then if we go into a little bit more detail on our expenditures on the next page, where were some of those savings? We had a little bit of savings, as you can see there, finance, the police department, information technology. So we had quite a bit of vacancy savings in those areas. Administration was over because we added Rob's position to assist with our facilities and grounds and our IT and fleet maintenance. And so he was budgeted in the administration department, which is why that one was over. But then we had other vacancy savings that covered that. So you can see there at the bottom, our operating expenditures were $11,597,000 budgeted, and our actual operating expenditures were $11,214,000. And then you can see at the bottom there are transfers out, which those go to the culture and rec department, and then also the school district sales tax at the bottom there. Any questions on the expenditures? All right, then we go into general fund revenues, and we can see how we did in collections. Property tax, it's pretty much every single year we're at about 97%, 97 to 98% of our total property tax receivable is collected. So we ended up collecting $2,258,000. Specific ownership was down a little bit, 197. Oh, there we go. Got it up there. It wasn't user error on my end this time. Redemption. Sales tax, as we saw here, was a little bit softer. We ended up at 98% of the budgeted amount for sales tax as well. That was $5,862,000. The school sales tax, of course, is the same rate, except for they have the administrative fee, which is what makes it a little bit less than in appearance there. Then the other higher ones, vehicle use tax was down a little bit at 48%, but we realized that when I created this report, we haven't updated the numbers, but some of that construction use tax actually belongs in the vehicle tax. So I think we were at 96%, not 48, which is what's shown on here. Franchise taxes were down a little bit though at $268,000, which was 82% of our budget. Business licenses were up a little bit, as were other licenses. Our highway user tax, the state determines our highway user tax allocation based on the traffic within city limits. So our traffic has continued to be very heavy, and so we're getting a higher allocation than we previously did. So we're getting 123% of our budgeted amount for that line. The PSAP is for our 911 center that we share with Colorado Springs. Severance tax was way up 497%. Let's see, what else is big to highlight here? Police fees, court fees, those were all up. Planning fees were up because we did do quite a bit of building last year. We had quite a bit of construction. So our planning fees were up. And you could see that as well in our transportation capital fees in the 410 fund, which we'll see in a few minutes. Interest earnings were fantastic, $277,000 in general fund. Water and wastewater, you're going to see in a minute, were outrageously high. And then our miscellaneous was high due to donations for Avenger. That was most of the overage that we had there.
Aaron, I had a question on general fund revenues
Sure.
under intergovernmental drug prevention SRO, where would that revenue have come from?
The SRO would, that would have come from the school district.
Oh, it was from the
Yes.
school
And
district.
we used to receive about 35,000.
Okay. Do you know how that's being addressed now?
I don't know the answer to that.
They don't have one.
Okay.
All right, so moving on to the Culture and Rec Fund. As we know, traditionally, Culture and Rec funds, Park and Rec, they're generally subsidized by the government as a service to the community. And so it's no surprise that that's how we have it set up here. Our revenues projected for the year were 1,454,000, and the actual revenues were 1,449,000. I'll go through that breakdown a little bit on how that works, but really what matters is the expenditures, because whatever expenditures that they have in excess of the revenues, the general fund covers. So it's more important how much they actually expended, because that's how much we're going to have to recover for them. So expenditures were budgeted at 1,454,000 as well, and the expenditures are exactly the same at 1,449,000. They have a fund balance that's kept in there of 173,000. We haven't changed that for several years. We could look at drawing that down a little bit, but we haven't since I think 2018. All right, so here's where we can see the individual departments. Park and Rec revenues on the top there, you can see they generated $93,000, which was 87% of their budgeted revenues. The Aquatic Center was at 401,000, which was 107%. So that's 2 years in a row that they have exceeded their revenue budget, which is awesome. That is so encouraging to see. And then the Cultural Center, as we talked about, they were closed for a little bit of time and had some other challenges there. So they were at 67% of their revenue allocation at 107. So their total collections for those three was about 65% of their total operating budget. I'm sorry, 45% of their operating budget. And then the transfer in from the general fund and from our CTF funding from the lottery was 847,000. Okay, and then we had expenditures. So Park and Rec expenditures were budgeted at 395. They spent 391, 99%. The Aquatic Center was a little bit over budget, 872 versus 870. And then the Cultural Center was a little bit under at 99% of their budget allocation, 185 versus 188. So on paper, they spend 100% of their total expenditures, but they were a little bit under budget.
Does the expenditures for the aquatic center, does that include the debt service?
It does not.
Okay.
It does not. All right, then as we move on to the 410 fund, we had a beginning fund balance in there of 6,352,000. As we know, we did a lot of street projects last year. So revenues in there were 3.1 million, which was 97% of our budget. And then expenditures came in at 6.9 million, which was 89%. I know in the budget that we gave you for 25, we were not sure about those CDOT reimbursements. We've been starting to see those come in, so we've been able to adjust this down because our actual expenditures are about 8 million, but with all those CDOT match and the reimbursement, it brings it down to 6,974,000. So our ending fund balance projected in there is 2.5 million. And you can see on here, the only thing I'll highlight, interest again was up in there 127%. The fund balance in there obviously is going to go down. So interest, I think for next year will be closer to about 150 because we did spend a lot of that fund balance. But you can see in there the different lines. If you have any questions, I can address those. But this is the breakdown of how we saw the expenditures. All right. The 420 fund, that one's pretty stagnant. We do $165,000 transfer to cover salaries for the salary offset for our field services crew, and also to do drainage user improvements there. So pretty straightforward in that one. We keep the fund balance in there pretty stagnant. Okay, then we'll go into water. Okay, so our water fund is performing very well. Revenues were 3.6 million last year, which was 124% over budget. Expenditures, we did not get to do as much on the reservoir as we had hoped, and also the Gold Hill tank. Some of those projects had to roll over, as we saw during the budget process. So that was almost 2.5 million, which was only 38% of the budget. So we show an ending fund balance projection of 11,539,000. This was a little bit more than what we had shown you in the 25 budget. A lot of that is going to be interest calculation for them. They had over $500,000 in interest earnings for last year, which was incredible. I think we had budgeted about 200,000. So the fund balance is doing well and interest rates are high. They're going to get a lot of interest. So that's a great thing. And then also some of their service charges for capital were up by about, I think, 400,000, if I'm not mistaken. So that makes up the difference between what we had shown you in the budget versus where we're showing we're ending now. Some of those came back a little bit higher. All right, and then wastewater, similar story here. The beginning fund balance was 7.9 million. We had 2,974,000 in revenues, which again was $500,000 more than the budget. And then expenditures were 2 million versus the 2.497 that were budgeted, so about 500,000 less there, which explains why the ending fund balance is almost $1 million more than when we started in the 24 budget. So 8,897,000 in the fund balance there for wastewater. And those numbers are pretty close to what Kip had showed you in his water reconciliation. He doesn't do one for wastewater, but we were pretty much spot on to where we thought we would be. Any questions on any of that? And again, this will be posted on the website as well for the public to be able to look at and review.
Aaron, thank you, Aaron. Council, do you have any questions for Aaron?
No, but great job.
Good job.
Thank
Thank you.
It's awesome.
All right, item 4, additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda. Suzanne, do we have anything?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Item 5 is this consent calendar. Council, we have 2 items. Item A is approval of the regularly scheduled April 17th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes and approval of a purchase between Bergkamp Inc. and the City of Woodland Park to purchase an asphalt truck in the amount of $290,242.70. As I think this is what you referred to moments ago. And if you would like to take either of them separately, we can pull that off.
Think separately on that.
Okay. All right. We can just, if you'd like to approve 5A, and then we can have discussion on 5B. Suzanne, do you want us to move it or just do it here?
You can do it right there,
All right.
one at a time.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the 5A approval of the regular scheduled April 17th city council meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions, council? Suzanne?
Thank you. Nakai,
Yes.
Bryant,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith.
Yep.
Case.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
All right. Item 5B is approval of the asphalt truck. George, did you have a question?
I do actually. So Aaron,
Excellent.
do you have a presentation or some kind of information about this truck and maybe talk about the previous truck, you know, and what its issues were?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Kip's going to come up and talk through that a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Previous truck we still have is a 2001 Freightliner. It's 24 years old. Over the last 2 years, what we've experienced is in the transition seasons between snow plowing and I'll say pothole repair. The Freightliner truck that we have now does both. It snow plows and it does asphalt, right? And it's just been breaking down a lot more to the point where we can't get out quick enough in between the transition season to get some of this stuff done. We've always taken great pride on having multi-use vehicles, but I think we're coming to the point where our citizens are just a little bit more demanding. Our roads are getting a little bit worse, and we need to move forward with a new tool in the toolbox. So purchasing this in front of you is just an asphalt truck. It will not be a snowplow.
Okay.
We did look at doing a multi-use vehicle, but it tacked on about another 100,000 to the ticket, and we're just to the point where we just want one truck that's, you know, if it breaks down, it can be fixed, especially over the winter. They can work on fixing it so it's ready for when we need to do pothole repair and patches and things like that. So the current 2001 Freightliner's been in the shop about 5 times in the last month. So it's not a huge ticket item. We've spent about $5,000 fixing it in parts, but the new truck, we're excited because it kind of it's all in one when it comes to asphalt. We can dig out the material in the road, put it on that same truck. It carries all the fluids to do the repair as far as tack and cleaning solutions and things like that. And also we're excited because the new truck has a 360-degree camera, so the operator can actually see all the way around the truck. So it's going to be a little bit more safer. So when they're driving away, they don't have to look in their rearview mirror and start counting heads, if you will. We're excited about that as well. So, and then hopefully it'll be ready when it needs to be ready. So
Right. Thank you.
And it does keep the asphalt warm longer, correct?
it does. This truck has a feature on it to where, let's say at the end of the day, we have, you know, a ton left in the truck. Where we're trying to scramble to put it places at the end of the day where this truck will actually, you can bring it back to the shop, plug it in, and it keeps for the next day. Or we can also go down the hill, you know, before the day we're going to, and bring it back up, plug it in, and it's ready to go first thing in the morning. So
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. And how soon will you be able to acquire the truck?
we're hopeful if it's approved tonight, it'll arrive in August.
Ah,
So, we have looked at other options. They had what they call a demo model that we were gonna get. It was about $40,000 more. It had more options. We weren't fast enough in that one to get that one right away, but we spec'd out the one we wanted. That's why it's the 290 in front of you tonight. The other trucks we looked at were right around 400. Granted, it's still an old plow truck as well, so we'll still be looking at trying to purchase a plow truck, which is about 190 to 200 for just a plow truck. But I think we're getting to that point where we can't do multi-use vehicles as much as we would like, especially when they're 24 years old.
Kip, this was an expense that was not identified in our
Correct. It's
5-year
not in the
plan.
budget. This is in addition to our budget.
And how will our budget be able to absorb it? This is out of the 410.
Yes,
It
we're
is.
we're waiting to see on some of our bids for the construction projects that we have out of the 410. If they come back and exceed what we expected in the budget, then we'll come back with a supplemental, but I don't anticipate right now that we will need to.
Okay.
To tag on to that, and I'm jumping the gun a little bit. Hopefully, next council meeting, we'll have the Browning Street project contract in front of you. And we budgeted around $1 million for that one, and it came back in around 600.
Which
so-
never happens.
Which never happens. That's why I'm hesitant to even tell you, so. Just still in sticker shock in a good way. So hopefully that will cover some of this. Now, we would still like to do other road projects as well, because there's a lot of things that we need to do, but.
So that's probably what we would come back to with the supplemental.
yeah.
And what is in our current reserve?
For the 410,
Mhm.
that was about 2.5 million.
Oh, okay.
Anything else, council?
Yeah, just one brief question. What is the expected service life of this new vehicle?
As long as we can.
I like
I
Um,
believe it has a 7-year useful life, but I'm sure we'll get much more out of it than that.
What are we doing with the old one then? It's just being retired or?
Currently, it's still a snowplow.
Oh, okay.
We'll use it as that,
Okay.
and probably some shouldering, but we would like to retire it next year.
And the crew loves that truck, so we've been having a challenge getting them to switch off of it.
So, but, yeah, we've been pretty lucky where we can get, a solid 10 years out of vehicles pretty good, so. I'm always a little hesitant, like, the Vector, when you get these specialized pieces of equipment, and they have more bells and whistles, if you will, it's just more stuff to break, but we're very hopeful that, the way it was designed, it's to maintain, so we'll see.
Anything else, council?
Well, out of curiosity, what is the life expectancy of some of our other major vehicles that are covered by 410?
Most of our snowplows are over 20, 25 years old. I think our newest snowplow is 2007.
But if you were to prioritize, you would go with the asphalt truck.
Yes,
now?
yes. We only really plow our roads maybe 8 times a year. Asphalt, we can do a lot longer with this truck, and our roads are breaking down quicker since most of them are paved all at the same time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of fighting that wall, if you will.
Thank you.
Council, if that's all, I'd look for a motion, please.
I'd make the motion to approve of a purchase between Bergkamp Inc. and the city of Woodland Park to purchase an asphalt truck in the amount of $290,242.70.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anything else, council? Suzanne?
Thank you, Bryant,
Yes.
Pierre,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith,
Yep.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council, and you can come do asphalt anytime.
Thank you, Kip. We are on item 6, public comment. Did you have something, Erin? I'm sorry. Oh. Public comment on items not on the agenda. Suzanne, do we have anyone online?
No, ma'am. And we have
Anyone in
no
the
one-
audience?
No one signed up.
Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council? Seeing no one, we will close public comment. Item 7 is unfinished business. We have nothing. Item 8, ordinances on initial posting. We have nothing. And item 9 is public hearings. And item A is approval of a new hotel and restaurant liquor license for Sophia's and Tajitos 3 LLC, doing business as Sophia's and Tajitos. Believe I'm saying that right. Located at 727 Gold Hill Place South, Woodland Park, Colorado. Suzanne.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mayor mentioned, council, before you, we have a new liquor license, which I know is always a fun thing and exciting thing for the council and for the community. To orientate you as to where 727 Gold Hill is, it is the former restaurant known as Mountainera Italian Kitchen. Okay, so that's where this restaurant's going in. I will read you the details of the liquor license, and then Leela is here to, where's? There she is. Leela is here to speak to you about the exciting things that she's planning for her business. So let's go through our business first here. We are conducting a public hearing tonight for a new hotel and restaurant liquor license. As Mayor mentioned, Sophia's Antojitos number 3 LLC is doing business as Sophia's Antojitos, and they're located at 727 Gold Hill Place South. The applicant is here with us this evening, and she submitted a needs and desires petition to local businesses, and we received that back here at the city. The possession of the property is documented by a lease. It is expiring on March 31st, 2030. The application was submitted into our office on March 27th, and the needs and desires petition contained 35 verified signatures of people around the area that thought this was a great idea. We posted the property on April 21st. The public notice was on the city's website and published on April 21st as well. The character of this applicant is not an issue for this hearing. All applicable fees have been paid, and the city clerk's office recommends passing this liquor license. As I said, Leela is with us this evening to talk a little bit about what she has planned. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Well, Sophia's Antojitos started on 2021. We opened our first location on 2021, and it's basically my mother and I. We opened in Colorado Springs. It started small and then it turned a little bigger than what we thought, but we fell in love with it. We have no life. Sophia's Antojitos is our life. It's a taco shop. but it's more than that. We try to cater more for families. It's kind of like if you put 3 food trucks in one place. We have tacos, we have tortas, and we have a bunch of snacks. So mini pancakes, waffle sticks, a little bit of seafood. We have specials every day, but you can't have tacos without a margarita. So we're excited about Woodland Park. I used to joke around with my mom. If Colorado Springs kept growing, I was gonna move here. And then we came here, saw this location and fell in love. So we're hoping that it will work out and people will actually like us as much as in Colorado Springs.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so where in Colorado Springs?
So we have our first location on Galleon Academy, and then our second location was open on Todd and Barnes.
My parents still live down there, so.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
you can take it as an excuse
So
and
take
go
it as
and
an
visit us.
Thank you. Go ahead.
In addition to margaritas, are you planning to have like a full bar or what's going to be the extent of your liquor service?
So we are hoping for a full bar. Our specialties are margaritas and micheladas, but we hired this awesome bartender that makes awesome drinks. So we're trying to put a full bar in there and make different stuff.
Anything else? All right. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Council, would you like to do a motion?
We need to do
please?
some public comment
Oh,
first.
thank you so much. Takes a village. All right, I will open the public comment portion of this public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience or online that would like to address the council, please come forward.
I have no one online.
All right.
Does not look like anyone is coming forward.
All right, I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and council. Now I will be looking for a motion from you all.
If you don't mind, I'll make the motion for the approval of a new hotel and restaurant liquor license for Sophia's Antojitos 3 LLC, DBA Sophia's Antojitos, located at 727 Gold Hill Place South in Woodland Park.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions, council?
Oh, yeah, I have one. When are you planning on opening?
So we always hope for something and it never really comes up. I'm hoping for the end of May, hoping.
Okay.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Everybody knows my question. Are you gonna have, nice tequila?
We are. So we're gonna have the house tequila up to, we don't want to say the expensive one because they're really not the greatest, but we will have a variety of them. So you'll have choices.
Okay, it's okay.
Thank you.
you.
Suzanne?
Thank you. Gear,
Absolutely.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Oh, yeah.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Congratulations. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you so, so much. And I hope to see y'all once we open or even before. I'll let y'all know about our soft opening.
Excellent. Thank you. Look
It'll
forward
be
to it.
free food, which is always awesome. Thank you.
Council, that takes us to 9 and 10 new business. We have none. And now to reports. So Carol, do you want me to talk about the legislative update? Or are you ready to do it?
The only thing I wanted to add before we did the legislative update, and I would prefer that you did it because you've been doing it the longest.
Okay.
Was the mandate for this particular lobbyist group. And we've talked about, are we getting the bang for the buck? It's not a particularly expensive contract, but it has allowed us to have a voice at the state legislature that focuses on issues that impact a municipality. And if I could just take one opportunity to talk about their contract with us. Their focus is intended to be for this legislative session, which ends in 6 days, is any issue that concerns municipal government, public finance, public safety, unfunded mandates, affordable housing, and other legislation. So we were not asking them to focus on issues that I think as citizens and taxpayers are concerned about, particularly with, First Amendment or Second Amendment rights. This had to do more with, how does it impact our rights as a home rule community? How does it impact, the promotion and the protection of our businesses, which is our livelihood without our businesses? How do we protect our employees? And there've been a couple of pieces of legislation that would impact, for instance, our police department. Their track record, this particular group of lobbyists, has been pretty good. It's not been 100% on those issues that we collectively, Fountain, Monument, and Woodland Park, have asked them to either oppose or to support. But just in the month that I've been attending the Zoom calls on Thursdays, it's obvious that these guys are busier than, I won't go into that particular analogy, but they've been very, very focused and very involved with, staying in the hallways, showing up at committee meetings, going to dinner, but also coordinating with our two state Congress people, our senator and our congresswoman. And that has, and letting them know, okay, you're representing a pretty large district, but these are the specific concerns of Woodland Park. And so for that reason, I think it has been worthwhile. We'll have a wrap up with this particular group in a month or so, and we'll come back with a more detailed report on their track record. But thus far, I think it's been very, very useful. But if you want to hit some of the highlights from today.
Sure. I do know that he did share with us today that some of the senators and House folks have actually inquired during committee what position we had taken as the group of 3 communities. And it did influence their perspective on whatever a particular bill that was important to us. And so it's nice to know that our representatives are asking, and even some of the sponsors of the bills that aren't necessarily representing us are asking what we as a group what position we're taking. So it's nice to know that we are actually being heard as that lobby group of those 3 cities and taken seriously. So that's a huge bonus that I heard today that I wanted to share. So a couple of things that I'd like to just point out that kind of struck me. House Bill 1060 is the electric fence detection systems. And basically what this is to regulate and license electric fences that are alarmed and around particular properties. But the thing that is buried, as things always are, in the bill is also alarms. So they're proposing to include alarms to license and to regulate your alarms. Actually, it came out, there's been an amendment to this bill that it would be voluntary on a municipality's behalf. But what they were suggesting is that if we want to regulate ourselves, not to say that we would have to regulate heavy, we could do our own ordinance to address those things if we desire. And so I wanted to just bring that to the attention of our attorney and our city manager to see if that's something that would be of a benefit to our community and not a detriment to have government get involved in your safety devices.
Are these residential and commercial alarms or just commercial?
I think it's everything.
It's everything.
Response.
And
Focus.
and I'll just add on to this, I was going, well, why?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But even though it has been signed by the governor,
Yes.
there were a couple of amendments in there that allow us really as a community to opt out. We don't have a code right now or a license requirement or a permit requirement for these kinds of systems that are on businesses and homes. So our question this afternoon was, well, do we have to do anything? And the answer is no.
Okay.
Right. But just so you know, the governor did sign that, and it's just kind of a puzzle as to why
Yeah.
and what provoked it, which is often the case. Cost of ambulance services, there was a very big support for this, and it was to help ambulances with recovering costs that they incur for providing services. And this was actually a unanimous vote by all the members of both House and Senate through the entire process of considering this bill. And most everyone, CML and agencies that provide services, were in support of this, as it's a help to them for the costs they incur.
And I'll add to that, Senator Baisley, was one of the co-sponsors of that. bill.
Yes, he was.
And so what does it do, though?
It-
Well-
It gives the ambulance district more, a better ability to recover or recoup insurance payments for people who take insurance rides from out of state.
Oh.
Which, if you've heard the head of our ambulance
Mhm.
district, that's one of his biggest
Yep.
challenges. How it works, I don't know.
Okay.
So.
Well, and is there any financial, I mean, is the state paying for this, or if this is just giving them the ability to go out of state? Okay.
That was Bill 1080, House Bill 1088. Another one that is of particular interest to us is House Bill 1169, which is a Faith Land Residential Development Bill. And actually that for faith and educational based institutions to be able to develop residential properties on there. And we all know that that has been something we've experienced as they are not taxable, but yet require services from all of us, including the city, the emergency services that we just talked about, et cetera. And it's not doing well. And they've been trying to amend it, et cetera. It has not left the floor but it is not doing well. And there are only 6 days left, and that includes the weekend. So Monday is the last day that any bills can be introduced, new bills. The voting rights bill that Suzanne and the clerks in the state have been concerned about, that bill is Senate Bill 1, and it is very much a partisan issue. And any amendments, any testimony, anything that anyone is trying to do to give input and affect the decision on that bill is not being very successful. So that is the status of that one. It is looking like it will be passed.
Mayor,
Yes,
the good news about that bill is it doesn't apply to home rule cities.
excellent. Thank you for that, Jeff. Another benefit of home rule. That's really, I think, the big ones that we talked about today. This one, they talked about a couple of new bills that are just hitting the floor, but not sure that they have a lot of effect on us. Anyway, that's what I have. Carol, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing the wrap up, but
Yeah.
it's been an eye opener for me. There were over 725 bills
Yes.
introduced this session.
And they're still coming.
And they're still coming.
So after Monday, they won't be still coming. Community events on Monday, May 5th, 2025, from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the UPass Cultural Center. The Greater Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce is hosting an active shooter training as part of their Lunch and Learn series. The class will teach you how to participate in your own survival while leading others to safety. Registration is required, and you can do that on the chamber website. On Friday, May 9th, from 5 to 6 p.m. at the Woodland Park Library, the Woodland Park Library will be celebrating Mother's Day by offering free family portraits for kids' pictures. Starting May 12th through May 18th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the Northeast Teller County Fire Protection District will be a collection location for residential pine needle and leaf disposal. Important reminders: it is first come, first served. No branches or trash accepted. Drop off during designated hours only. No commercial dumping or construction debris. For more information on other drop-off locations, which are the other departments throughout the county, dates and times, please visit the Northeast Teller County Fire Protection District's Facebook page or the city's Facebook page. I know we've posted that flyer as well. So those are the events, and that's all I have. Catherine?
Yes, charter review will meet May 14th at 2:30, upstairs in the conference room as usual. And that's all.
Thank you. Seth?
I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Jeff?
All right, Parks and Rec update. If I could talk. Okay, the Woodland Aquatic Center swim team, the Wahoos, they're currently recruiting team members. Feel free to sign up now. The Ute Pass Cultural Center free community concert is May 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. with a performance by Jeremiah Campfire. The Ute Pass Cultural Center is nominated for the Beat of Teller. I think it's supposed to be Best of Teller. Under Arts, Entertainment, and Recreation for Best Place to Hear Live Music and Best Wedding Venue. Please vote for the UPCC at www.bestofteller.com. Meadowwood Sports Complex is getting busy. I know we have our draft and our baseball clinics here on this Saturday. Youth baseball 5-day draft will be held. Yeah, see, I should have just kept reading. This Saturday, May 3rd, with all division practices starting May 10th. Adult softball starts May 13th. Girls softball skills and drills registration is open until May 5th with late registration until May 12th. Season starts the first week of June. And lastly, register now for summer programming with Skyhawk Sports Camps, Creative Explorer Art Camps, youth and adult tennis lessons, and youth soccer camp.
Thank you, Jeff. Carol?
I just wanted to give a brief update on our sponsored military unit, which is the 4th Engineer Battalion at Fort Carson. This morning at 0630, they deployed the 76th Combat Engineer Company. It's one of the 6 companies in the battalion to the southern border. I think I've brought this up before. Their U.S. Northcom in their mission for Homeland Defense is in command of a military presence along the southwest border with a number of different mission sets, which, by the way, do not include any police operations. That is illegal under Posse Comitatus. But the unit, this particular combat unit deployed this morning. Some of their, let's see, what some of their mission or their task sets are going to include probably assistance with the rebuilding or continuing to build the wall on the border. But there's a total, we believe there will eventually be a total of 10,000 soldiers on the border, but Fort Carson has definitely got a footprint down there now, and our battalion is there with them. That's all I have.
Thank you, Carol. Our best wishes to them. George?
Just 2 things. We are moving the DDA meeting, so was supposed to be this coming Tuesday. So for everybody that is paying attention, it is now the 13th, same time, same place. And then, Aaron, I'll let you talk about the micro grant program, but we had a fabulous response to that program. So that was really good. That's it.
Thank you.
Guess I'll go.
Steve?
All right, I was asked to do this invite. It's, I'm pretty sure it's at the Cultural Center, but it's the concert. It's Out Loud Colorado Springs Men's Chorus, One Nation, Many Voices. And it will be May 17th at 7:30 p.m.
Thank you.
But that's not all.
Oh, keep going, sir.
I spent 5 hours and 44 minutes today watching Nicole Ayers' first spacewalk.
Nice.
It was awesome. Things that they have to go through just to do it. But I also want our community to know that, yes, Nicole's out of this world. Okay,
Literally.
but we also, the many, many kids that graduated from Woodland Park High School. We have teachers, we have college coaches, we have, professors in, big colleges. Just to give a shout out to, those teachers and those coaches that had a lot to do with their success.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve.
Mhm.
City Attorney? And Aaron, City Manager?
Yes, so we did receive 33 micro grant applications, which was a huge overwhelming interest in the program, so that's awesome. We did exceed the $150,000 amount. However, there are still a number of applicants that have not turned in all of the information, which is why we're having to move the meeting to a later date so that staff has an opportunity with the DDA's attorney to go through and make sure that we have all the information that we need. So I don't have a full update at this time as to how many actually have completely turned everything in. I think it's about half of them, so we're still waiting on quite a bit. Doing quite a bit of chasing around. So if you're out there and you need to turn your documents in, please do it as soon as possible. The other item I'd like to, everyone I think is aware of all the construction going on Highway 67. There is going to start being some road closures and detours happening as part of this project. It looks like starting on May 5th, there's going to be a closure from Stone Ridge Drive from Highway 67 intersection to Ptarmigan Drive. That's going to be a 24/7 closure with detour routes posted. And that's going to take place for about 4 weeks. So just be aware of that as you're going around there. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything else?
No, sorry. I keep
No?
thinking you have.
All right, we're adjourned.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.